Yo, what is up, guys? So, I got a pretty cool variant for you guys today. It's a TG Synchro deck that still has access to the Assault mode stuff. So if you want to bust it out, you can definitely do it, but you don't need to. And that's the beauty with TGs, especially since the deck is very resilient, meaning that it will survive generally because you can just special summon them. And if they die, you don't really lose advantage because most of the TGs will go ahead and search you out another TG except for itself. But anyways, we're going to be showcasing off this deck, and I'll also give you guys a deck profile in case you guys want to build a 2019 TG deck with, of course, the Assault mode. So Halbred Cannon is still an okay card. I feel like it requires too much to just kind of make the card. Although with Trident Launcher, it's a lot easier, and of course Needle Fiber making things a lot easier as well. But being able to just get rid of your opponent's stuff, and you can see there multiple times he's just trying to make plays, but it's not going to happen. The Assault mode TG Halbred Cannon is just going to go ahead and banish all of the special summon monsters your opponent controls, which, yeah, that's a pretty good effect in Yu-Gi-Oh! Also, playing a few tech cards over here, this duel is really going to showcase off the TG1 EM1, which is basically kind of like a creature swap, but you get to select everything, which is actually pretty dang good. So, even if your opponent would, let's say, make something, and you don't have options to go for the Assault mode, because for those of you guys that have built Assault mode decks, you guys know that sometimes you just can't bust it out. And the beauty with TGs is you have the potential to not only stall, but make other things. Because Assault mode decks, again, they're so focused in on just going for that Assault mode card. And sometimes they just don't really have any other options. Now with, of course, the new level 1 Psychic that's going to go ahead and search out a card that lists Assault mode. You can just go Assault Beast, and then from there, you have easy access to going straight into an Assault mode. But again, sometimes you just don't have that. But in this instance, we have the EM1, and that's just going to go ahead and let him creature swap some stuff. And he's going to go ahead and crash the Thunder Dragons, but increasing his other one's attack. But he's going to go ahead and activate the Thunder Dragon Lord's effect that he actually snatch stole from his opponent here. But he's got the Thunder Dragon Titan. And we have Needle Fiber out there. He's going to go ahead and Called by the Grave to stop the other effect. Then we have the Trident Launcher. Again, just being able to special summon multiple monsters is pretty dang good. Now, there's a downside with this card. You can only go for TG monsters for the rest of the turn. But it's not that big of a deal when you're playing an all-TG deck. There is an Assault mode Stardust in the extra deck, but most of the time it's going to be making the Halbred Cannon. And again, this card makes it so when your opponent would special summon monster or monsters, you can go ahead and destroy. It says that monster, but it does include the in parentheses S, so that can be multiple ones summoned at the same time. But yeah, Halbred Cannon, just being able to get rid of one card, and then if you Assault mode activate, you're going to be able to pop basically one card, and then after that you make another boss monster, then you're going to be able to pop, or essentially banish all the special ones, and he's just going to GG because, well, Quantum Dragon is a pretty good card. Being able to bounce back that card, so he's just going to go ahead and say GG over there. But, yeah, I just want to kind of showcase off a different amount of plays here so you guys can see different ways to not only play the deck, but kind of deal with other things that your opponent might actually throw out. But shoutouts to Zark, aka Goku Black, for hooking me up with these plays that you guys are seeing. And like I said, I'll give you guys a deck profile in just a second over here. I want to show you guys a few different times where we're making some plays. So we're going to then summon the Larva, go into the Dragonfly, aka the cheap version of Forma Synchron back in the day. Forma, guys, back in the day used to be $15, and I remember people would actually replace it with the Dragonfly because they just couldn't afford it. It was kind of funny. But anyways, we got a Blazar Dragon. He's going to go ahead and bust out his Doom King, but that's going to go ahead and get creature swaps. And he's going to go ahead and activate this effect, rip the Mizuki, and this opponent's just like, dude, I can't defeat him. So yeah, like I said, you can still make other things in this deck, and that's why I like this variant. Like I said, I'll give you guys a deck profile in just a second. But it just has other options. Now, in this instance, his opponent is actually going to be playing a Exodia Destiny Hero deck, which can actually pull off Exodia, which I think is pretty crazy to see people actually building some random stuff, just being able to, of course, go for Exodia in Heroes. Cool stuff indeed. But we got multiple copies of Assault Beast over here. And there is also the Destiny Hero Draw guy. This card can definitely be a double-edged sword. You can definitely ruin yourself, giving your opponent that extra draw. But we've got Trident Launcher out over on the board, so we're making some big boy plays. And with no back row, it's not going to be looking too good for Vegeta. I like how it's Goku versus Vegeta. Coincidence matchup, man. Anyways, we're going to draw an extra card. We're going to go ahead and make Blade Buster. You know what's funny is I think Blade... Oh, let's go with this card. No one really ever makes this card. It's a stepping stone in this deck. But whenever your opponent activates a spell trap that targets this specific face-up card, you have to send a card from your hand to the graveyard to negate that effect. But during your opponent's turn, you can banish one TG monster from your graveyard, and you can banish this, so it can kind of dodge certain things. Plus, it has okay amounts of attack. But once the guy went for the Gunblock, he's like, dude, I'm going to go ahead and say no to that, courtesy of the Assault mode effect. But yeah, this card is definitely really strong in this build. But anyways, let's go ahead and go over deck profile in case any of you guys want to build this deck yourself. Like I mentioned before, there wasn't a showcase off of this play, but you can instantly just go Side Reflector, because whenever this card is normal or special, you get to go ahead and add one Assault mode activate, or one card that specifically lists Assault mode activate. So you can instantly just go Side Reflector straight into the Assault Beast, and then on top of that, you can also reveal Assault mode activate in your hand, target a monster graveyard that specifically lists Assault mode activate in its text except for itself. You special summon to increase its level by 4. So that is pretty cool. You can definitely utilize that and go straight into a lot of different things. Like I said, we didn't see it in the duel. We actually did see the Assault mode in the hand, but you don't really want the Assault modes in the hand. But the Stardust Dragon Assault mode card wasn't here, but I feel like if you really want to, you can go ahead and drop that. It's basically unnecessary, especially because most of the time you can only go for the TG cards anyways, because, well, that's just how Trident Launcher works. But anyways, we got the Assault mode Stardust, Assault mode TG Halbred Cannon. We got 3 copies of the Phantom Maker, which is just kind of it cycles through your cards, and it's like another monster. And if your opponent doesn't get rid of it, you can definitely utilize it as a stepping stone for other things. Especially when you are going second. And then we have 2 copies of Assault Beast, we have 3 copies of the Screw Serpent, we have 3 copies of Werewolf, 2 copies of Striker, 3 copies of Red Resonator, we have 2 copies of Booster Raptor, 3 copies of Side Reflector, 2 copies of Tank Larva, 1 Raigeki, 2 copies of Resonator Call, 1 Reborn, 2 copies of Called by the Grave, 1 E-Tally, 1 TGX3 DX2. This is basically like a Pot of Avarice. I always felt like this card was a win harder card, because if you've gone through your TGs, especially in an Assault mode deck, I feel like it kind of hurts your early game if you don't have access to it. And if you've already gone off, then you should probably win anyways. That's just the way I see it. But you guys can go ahead and mix it up and make it to your liking. So if you guys want my suggestions, if you want more consistent, I'd drop those 2 cards. But Infinite Impermanence, then we got 3 copies of TG1 EM1, which this card is fantastic. It lets you play out of a lot of things. If your opponent makes something that's kind of difficult to deal with, just swap them with give them a trash TG, and then you're going to be able to add another card anyway, so you really don't go minus at all. And then we have 2 copies of course, Assault mode activate. For the extra deck, we have the Cosmic Blazer Dragon, which again, the reason why I like this Assault mode deck is you can kind of play it out and make other things, whereas a lot of these Assault mode decks, it's usually just going to be Stardust Dragon. I did technically cover the Assault mode. It was a cheese build. Technically, you get out any Assault mode activate. There is a card, I forgot the exact name of it, but I do want to mention it. I'll also pin the video I did. Basically, we're using a card that lets you special summon a monster you're not supposed to be able to special summon, and then what you do is you use Assault Reboot. So you tribute 1 Assault mode, and then you get to special summon another Assault mode monster from your deck with a different name, ignoring its summoning conditions. So yeah, like I said, basically just get out in different Assault mode, and it can be kind of nasty to run into, but I'd say it's a little bit cheesy. To be forced to run other Assault modes in a deck is usually just bad ideas. But there are other Assault mode cards, like Assault mode 0, where you get to tribute the Synchro monster, and then also special summon 1 Assault mode monster from your hand. Because normally when you draw these, they're just usually minus. That's just kind of how they are. But anyways, onwards, continuing on with, I just wanted to mention these cards. These are cards that I could also kind of recommend if you're just building an Assault mode deck. Anyways, we got Blazer, we got the Halberd Cannon, obviously, for this deck. Blaster is just kind of a card that we're utilizing as a stepping stone. Regular Stardust Dragon is just a different artwork. And then we have the Cyber's Quantum Dragon. We did see that as well during the duel. And then we have Black Rose, we have Librarian, we've got Wonder Magician, Star Guardian, 2 copies of Dragonfly, 2 copies of the Trident Launcher, and 2 copies of Needle Fiber. And for those of you guys saying, why don't you put in the formula? Synchron. Well, Forma Synchron, unfortunately, is not a TG card. This card is still fantastic, don't get me wrong, but majority of the time in the Assault mode variant that we're playing, we're going to go into Trident Launcher to go ahead and combo off, and you won't have access to Forma Synchron because of the effect where you can only summon TG monsters. But, like I said, I can recommend these as well if you wanted to build an Assault mode deck. Definitely also check out this Cheese variant that I was playing. I was utilizing Assault Reboot to actually special summon one Assault mode that you're not supposed to be able to summon it like normally it's used by like a wild monster appears, and then you just go ahead and reboot that, grab out something else, and yeah, that is the TG 2019 build that is a more pure, I would say, TG variant, where we're also utilizing some of the other tech cards, some of the newer stuff. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed checking that out. If you enjoyed the vid, drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Once again, shout outs to my boy Zark for hooking me up with the plays. And if you guys got any cool replays, feel free to go ahead and send them into AzneyesReplays@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, peace out, I'm signing out.